Hey, Warren Eckstein here with some comments. Why everybody wants the perfect dog is beyond me. There's no such thing as the perfect dog. There's no such thing as the perfect person. Let me give you an example. After training as many thousands of dogs as I've worked with, I got to be honest with you. I don't know anyone that gets rid of their dog because it pulls a little bit. I don't know anyone that gets rid of their dog because it doesn't sit every time they tell it. I don't know anyone that gets rid of their dog because he chases squirrels in the backyard. The reason so many dogs may wind up at shelters is housebreaking, chewing, jumping, excessive barking, digging, aggressive behavior, not getting along with other dogs. These are the things that trainers really need to focus on. I remember years ago when I first started out in New York, there may be one other company or two other companies that might have been doing in-home training. And I would go to homes to evaluate a dog, and the owner of the home would say to me, Warren, I had another trainer here, and they brought a demonstration dog with them, this beautiful demonstration dog, and he did everything. He told him he sat, he stayed, he heeled, he begged, all that. And I said, well, you know what? Let me do one better. Let me demonstrate with your dog. Yeah, I said that. And I did. Any well-trained trainer or behaviorist can really make a dog that they've never known kind of look good. But what I really focused on was sitting down with the entire family, mom, dad, grandma, if they lived there as well, and figuring out what they really expected. What were their expectations for their dog? Every family has different expectations. Some people say, well, I really like to jog with my dog, or I walk with my dog, or my dog hangs out in the backyard. I want it to have an interesting backyard. So one of the most important things a trainer can really do is take the time to evaluate the family, the lifestyle, and do their training in accordance with what their needs are and what their family lifestyle is. I've gone into homes where they could care less. They could care less if the dog walked perfectly on a leash, but they didn't want the dog to jump on people when they came over. So it's important to remember, if you have a new dog that you've adopted, remember, you got to give them some time to adjust. But in terms of training, the most important part of training, or I like to call it educating, is really to build up your dog's confidence, to make your dog feel good about themselves. Remember when you were going to school and you got an A? I don't remember getting an A, but if you remember getting an A, you remember feeling good about yourself. I felt good about myself if I got a C+. So just like with us, every dog is different as well. Making sure you praise them and encourage them constantly. Focus on what they're doing versus what they're not doing, and you'll get a much better response. If you listen to the Pet Show or follow me on YouTube, you know I'm against any type of shock collars, prong collars, any of that nonsense. Take the time, figure out what you want from the dog, sit down with the entire family, have a family meeting and say, okay, listen, this is where we want to go. For example, if one person tells the dog, jump on the couch, and the other person tells the dog to get off the couch, then the dog's going to call me and says, hey, Warren, that's neurotic. And it is. So sit down. Is the dog going to be allowed to sleep in the bed with us? Is the dog not going to be allowed to sleep in the bed with us? What the scenario is going to be. All this can make all the difference in the world. Remember, years ago, it was the family dog. No more. Now it's the dog that's part of the family. Just think of the names. It used to be Duke and Duchess and Queenie. Now it's Sam, Harry, and Paul. Sounds like a poker game on a Friday night. Remember, if you take the time to educate, socialize, and expose your dogs properly, you're going to have that relationship that you want. Just make sure you don't use any of those abusive methods and those Gestapo methods, and the dog has to do this all the time, and the dog has to do all that all the time. How boring is that from the dog's point of view? We have them for such a short time. Let them enjoy themselves. Let them have fun. But at the same time, education is critical because it builds up their confidence and their self-image. So if you speak to people on the street, I was joking about this the other day on the radio show. When I first started, I'm going back almost 50 years ago, it was me and maybe 2 or 3 other people. Now, try to find someone that isn't a pet professional. It's pretty difficult to do. So if you're going to be taking advice from someone, make sure that advice is coming from someone you really know. For example, I don't give out medical advice because my background's in behavior. A lot of veterinarians really know a lot about behavior, but not as much as a behaviorist because they don't deal with it every day. The combination of your vet working with a behaviorist is exactly that nirvana, that perfect combination. So remember, finding the right behaviorist, the right trainer for your dog is just as important as finding the right teachers and the right school for your kids. What you do now is going to make all the difference in the future. Make it fun, make it enjoyable, and don't forget to give them a hug and a kiss.